Have you ever heard that song? Ready or not, here we come. You can't hide. Well, good day, everyone. My name is Precious Williams, and welcome to Red Hot and Tempting. 3 ways to get them to buy when? Right now. Now, as the killer pitch master, and I'm also affectionately known as the pitch queen, I'm a 13-time national elevator pitch champion who has truly elevated the pitching game. Now, whether you have a sales pitch, an elevator pitch, a media pitch, an investor pitch, a speaker pitch, or an interview pitch, I am a master of them all and have the credentials and the expertise to be able to help you. With Red Hot and Tempting, I know there's so many entrepreneurial women who are speakers and authors who are looking for ways to figure out how to get their target market to buy right now. And so I want to share this with you, but also just want to give you that little background on me so you know that I am not new to this. I'm true to this. So why Red Hot and Tempting? Well, to be quite honest with you, you can look through your email inbox right now. You can go on social media. A lot of what you see posted, you just move right past because it's not tempting you. It's not captivating and titillating you. Well, with what you're doing, you want to captivate and titillate, and you want to stand out in a crowded marketplace. I've been a professional speaker since I was 16 years old, and I'm 43 now. So what's that? I don't know, 27 years of professional speaking excellence. So why would I do it at 16 and why am I still doing it at 43? It's because the messages may have changed, but the techniques haven't really. And so I want to share with you some of the great secrets that people kind of do short shrift to, but I want you to be red hot and tempting. I want you to be the only choice that matters in your network and in other networks. I want people to hire you, book you, refer you, buy your products, put out your services. I want people to pitch you in rooms you've never been so that you have access to bigger and bigger audiences. But let's take it back. How far? Back in time. So the first thing I want to share with you all is number 1 for Red Hot and Tempting, those 3 ways we're talking about. Number 1, I want you to emotionally connect with your audience. What does that even mean? So when I started Curvy Girls Lingerie, the ultimate shopping experience for full-figure divas and plus-size fashionistas, one of the things that I learned is that there are certain segments of the population that people think don't want to buy or don't need certain pretty things. And plus size women or women who have a little bit more meat on their bones, people usually make fun of them or act like, we didn't exist. So when I started my first company, Curvy Girls Lingerie, I kept getting, you're too fat, too black, you don't have an Ivy League degree. No one cares about those type of women. But I knew that that wasn't true, but I had to figure out a way to make them interested. So one of the things I did was, as I was creating my pitch, it wasn't just, oh, buy my lingerie. It's for big girls. Big girls need love too. No, I didn't want to insult. I wanted to educate, titillate, and captivate. So I started off like this. This is part of emotional. This is part of your emotional. This is a part of emotional storytelling, which is number 1, emotional storytelling. Listen to this, ladies. It's Valentine's Day, and you finally felt man of your dreams. You know what time it is. It's time to find some sexy lingerie to set the mood off nicely. But you weigh over 200 pounds. What's a big girl in the city supposed to do? Yep, I was that big girl. And I went to Victoria's Secret and I couldn't even find a bra in my size. So then I went to Ashley Stewart and Lane Bryant. Didn't even like the selection. Finally, as a last resort, I went to Macy's, where my choices were black, beige, and white. Again, what's a big girl supposed to do? And that's why I created Curvy Girls Lingerie. And we are the ultimate shopping experience for full-figure divas and plus-size fashionistas. So that's part of the emotional storytelling. Number 1, most women can find themselves in a story. They really can. But then when you throw in, you weigh over 200 pounds. What? I don't weigh over 200 pounds, but there are women who do. When I started my company, I was 327 pounds. But you know what? I added to the story. I was dating a very famous Hollywood actor when I was 327 pounds. We're like, oh, that's not true. Baby, it was true. It was true. And he made me look at myself differently. And I started to see that there were so many women who had a little bit more meat on their bones, who forgot that they still had swag. They forgot that they were still beautiful. They accepted what society said about them. And I was like, we're not doing that. I want you to wear red hot, sexy, and fresh lingerie because I created it for you. And when women would see me on stage speaking about it, or winning pitch competitions, or standing in my power and not letting people say, oh, she's going to talk about food, she's going to talk about this, that, and the other. I stood on stage and said, listen, I'll take your man and your woman, what you want. I don't have, I brought confidence to the table, but I also wanted to show women, if you allow society to keep telling us that we're not desirable, we're not wanted, I would never have had the relationship that I had. I would never have become the killer pitch master, a 13-time national champion, beating out people who went to Harvard, Yale, Stanford, Columbia, cool tech companies, international companies, with a lingerie company for a group that they didn't think mattered. Then I threw in over 40 million women size 14 or larger in the United States, just like me, and we all want pretty underwear. But if no one makes it, what are we going to do? That's why it took the 327-pound woman to do it, to say that we are here. We need to be heard. And I don't care what I got to go through to make sure that the women that I represent, they deserve nice underwear and not to just wear whatever's provided. No. I want you to choose. Just like people can choose whether they want to date you or not. I want you to choose the type of lingerie you want to wear, because I want you to feel as desirable as I felt. I forgot at 327 pounds that I was worth it. Now, I know I'm not 327 pounds today. I get it. I'm not. But I still got that mentality. I'm 200 plus pounds. So you talk about emotional storytelling, right? If I gave you the facts, figures, and statistics, if that's all I gave you was, hi, I'm Precious Williams. I'm the proud founder and CEO of Curvy Girls Lingerie. There are over 40 million women size 14 or larger in the United States, and we would like to have pretty underwear, so I created it. That's boring. What made mine go crazy, especially when I was on Shark Tank, was the power and the confidence and the emotion that I brought behind it. So you might be asking yourself, you did that on Shark Tank, and most of the investors on Shark Tank are men. Yes. But remember, I was speaking to my target market and to those who are associated with my target market. So even though most of the panel was men, except for Lori Grenier, who was definitely not a full-figure diva, they all knew someone who could benefit from my product. So your pitch has to be emotionally compelling, because even if your target market isn't in the room, there are people who are listening, who know the struggle, have heard the struggle, who will put you out there, right? When we talk about red hot and tempting, you can tempt people who aren't in your target market to get to the people that you need to get to, right? So you need to sell and tell your story in an emotionally compelling way. When you bring the emotions into it, it changes how people see you. And most pitches that I see, they're either boring or dry, or there's no passion behind them. I started my company because I saw that there was a gap that wasn't being serviced properly. And that was 10 plus years ago. So you may see Lizzo today. You saw Ashley Graham on the cover of Sports Illustrated. I preceded them because my vision preceded them. So because you see these women today and they are standing in their power as full-figure divas, there was a woman who came before who said, and that woman was me. And as the trailblazer, it was easy to sell my lingerie because women could hear the passion behind it. It was easy for investors to buy in and give me the money to grow and expand my business. It was easy to win pitch competitions because I talked about a market no one really talked about at the time. And I brought life into it by telling an emotionally compelling story that had facts, figures, and statistics in it. And I made it red hot and tempting because I wanted them to know. Number 2 on our red hot and tempting. Yes. Here's number 2 in our 3 ways. Number 2, think about social proof when you are putting together your pitch to entice and to captivate and titillate your prospects. What social proof can you put out there? So again, let's go back to what we were talking about when it comes to you going on social media. You see ads online, you see ads on television, you may be on YouTube and you'll see these ads. Most of them you just move right past because they don't attract you. But let me tell you the power of social proof. So there are times that you're not just pitching and telling people to buy your stuff, you're bringing them on your journey. So social proof. When I decided that I was going to let Curvy Girls Lingerie go to become the CEO of Perfect Pitches by Precious, which is why I'm known today as the CEO of Perfect Pitches by Precious, the hashtag killer pitch master, and the pitch queen, it was because I knew that there were so many women who struggled with being able to confidently pitch themselves no matter what, in conversations and direct messages on social media, whatever. So what I did is to get the word out is I started speaking more and showing how pitching really works, right? I started showing how pitching really works. Queen, just give me a second. I don't know what just happened. So can you just give me a second?
Yes, no worries. We can edit this part out.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know what just happened with because it's onto another, wait, sorry.
Yep, we have a video editor on board, so no worries at all.
Okay. All right, Queen. So now I'm coming back.
All right,
So-
all right. I'll mute myself now.
Okay. Coming back. So one of the great ways is to do it through social proof. So I started speaking, and you know how I started enticing people? I was showing them behind the scenes. So one of the greatest things that I do when I go to speaking events is I always do Facebook Lives. I take them behind the scenes of what I do as a speaker, what I do as a corporate trainer. When I remember I was at LinkedIn, right? And the Empire State Building in New York. I was behind the scenes and I'm freaking out. And I was like, this would be great as part of social proof to show I am who I say I am as the killer pitch master. Showed them behind the scenes. I was talking about, I'm scared, y'all. I don't know what I'm going to do. And the audience was with it because they were like, oh my God, you're at LinkedIn. Oh my goodness, Precious, what are you feeling? And it was a back and forth. I'm like, all right, y'all. I said, I want y'all to see how great the space is. Here's some of the speakers. I was at a VIP lunch because I was one of the speakers. And what it did is it took them on my journey. You want to talk about red, hot, and tempted, take them behind the scenes of what it looks like. Too many people want to show the perfect journey. I want to show you the imperfect parts of it. Because as a speaker, you're not always on stage. In order to stay booked as a speaker, you have to show what it's like being there, not just on stage. What's the process of getting booked? How are people responding when I speak? That's why I always take a video after I speak and I'll ask them, why y'all feel about the killer pitch master? And I'll pan it and they're going crazy because it shows event planners, conference organizers, this is what happens when you book me. What does that have to do with red, hot, and tempting? When it comes to pitching, everything you're doing is a pitch. And what you're doing by listening to me today is you're adding strategy, cunning, and precision behind it with these 3 ways I'm telling you. So social proof, enroll people, bring them into what you're doing because they'll be your greatest fans. They'll be raving fans. They will put you out there to others. Let's say they can't afford you. Maybe they can get their company to afford your products or services. Do you see why red, hot, and tempting is so fascinating and why you have to incorporate these 3 into what it is you're doing? A pitch is really a short, brief way of introducing yourself, your books, your brands, your product or services to your target market or those associated with it, right? And I'm sorry I didn't do that in the beginning, but telling you why pitching is so important. The reason why all of us need a pitch right now or different pitches for different audiences is because different audiences have different problems and challenges. And if you can solve them in a very unique way that doesn't sound dry, boring, or you're regurgitating what the gurus are saying, I want you to create your own type of content that brings people to you. So whereas a lot of people on social media are showing you just the beautiful highlight reel, I want to show you the hard work that goes into writing a speech or creating a training or, when I go to BMW, I'm speaking at BMW, my book is coming out. And they bought my books as a part of bringing me in to speak at their conference, right? This is BMW, y'all. Yeah, see that BMW, the ultimate driving machine. How does a Black woman from the inner city of St. Louis, Missouri get in front of BMW, LinkedIn, Google, Microsoft, Federal Reserve Bank, into a QuickBook and all of that? It's because I'm showing you how to be red hot and tempting. Red hot and tempting. And so number three, crucial. Number three, use the power of FOMO, fear of missing out. In your call to action, we always talk about, hey, with your call to action, you want to tell people what to do after they hear you. Do you want them to go to your website? Do you want them to check out your TED Talk? Do you want them to talk to read the client testimonials on LinkedIn, which I have over 225, right? There's a reason why. Because you want them to see that you have the credibility, the expertise, and people are vouching for you. But let's add FOMO into there, fear of missing out. Why is that important? So when we're starting our business ventures, whether we're authors, speakers, or entrepreneurs, sometimes your messages don't get responded to. Sometimes your emails don't get responded to. Sometimes you'll call people and they won't respond. Well, one of the things I learned in having a call to action is showing proof of who else has rocked with you. So when I came up with my first book, Bad Bees and Power Pitches, I had no idea it would be a #1 bestseller, right? People kept telling me the title would never work, My title worked, but one of the things that I did is I got into the direct messages on LinkedIn for several people, several journalists. And I put in little things like, yes, I've won 13 national pitch competitions, Black Enterprise, Perfect Pitch, all these other things and big things. And I will put that in there as part social proof, but part of you need to get at me now, because by the time you get to me, I may not respond because I'm blowing up. So when my book came out and then it was reviewed by Forbes magazine, yes, y'all, Black on both sides, nothing ambiguous, no six-pack abs, no Brazilian butt lift. I does this for a living. FOMO, social proof, all of this. When I started getting in the DMs of journalists, I would put at the end of my short pitch, and then check out what Forbes said about my new book, Bad Bees and Power Pitches. The title of the article was called Pitching is Being, right? Fear of missing out. If I can get into Forbes, earned media, didn't pay for it or anything, that tells you the power of who I really am and how I was able to write a book that got on the radar of Forbes, billboard in Times Square. How did I get all of these companies, corporations, foundations, and nonprofits to work with me? How do I get my clients, 7 of my clients, to be successfully funded on Shark Tank? How did I train over 300 pitch champions? How do I have some of the biggest companies in the world working with me? The social proof, the testimonials, the credibility, what people have written about me. All of that goes into when you talk about your call to action and what you want them to do, leave them with something that'll leave them breathless. They're going to want to work with you. Do you see what I'm saying? So the power of being red hot and tempting has to figure into your pitching game. It has to, whether it's your sales pitch, your elevator pitch, your media pitch, your investor pitch, your sales pitch, or your interview pitch. All of it has to figure into that. You already know the components of a basic pitch. But in order for you to be red hot and tempting, incorporate these 3 ways into it. You can incorporate them all at once or one at a time. So let's go over it again. Number 1, you have to have an emotionally compelling story as a part of your pitch. Remember, I talked about, when I started my first company, Curvy Girls. If I had just said we do lingerie for plus size women, nobody would have cared. What changed it was sharing that the over 40 million women size 14 or larger who look just like me, and there was nothing created for us. Number 2, as a part of that, I also talked about being in a relationship with a very famous Hollywood actor. And my stuff had to look good. Do you hear me? And then I shared how my so-called competitors really weren't competitors because they didn't create anything for us. And so when I was standing on that stage in my confidence, I would show people this is why it's needed. That's why investors were rushing to give me money to grow and expand my company. That's why women would buy in droves. That's why men would come up to me and say, thank you, you created something for our wives. Emotionally compelling story. So you're doing something that tells and sells at the same time. Number 2 on Red Hot and Tempting. You want to provide social proof. So as you're creating your pitch, think about ways to incorporate bringing people into what it is that you're doing. You can do behind the scenes Facebook Lives. You can even have people do, choose the wig or the clothes you're going to wear for an event. If they know you're going to go speak somewhere, you're going to have a trade show or something, invite them to help you decide what it is. Number 1, you're getting them excited about what you're doing, and now they're going to want to support you. Right? They're going to want to ask questions and maybe even come to see you and support you. The thing is, you're bringing your target market to you by asking them to help you. You're not asking for their funds at that point. You're showing social proof. I respect y'all. Help me. And as they're helping you, now they're going to want to pay to support you. So show them behind the scenes. If you create wax candles or soy candles, show them the behind the scenes because now they're willing to go with you. And number 3 on Red Hot and Tempting, you want to incorporate FOMO, fear of missing out, into your call to action. So if you're asking for someone to do something, you're pitching to them. Don't forget to drop a name on them. Drop something you've done that's big that would resonate with that target market. When you do that, they're like, oh, I need to be all over this like a cheap suit. So I shared with you all how Forbes put me on the map, earned media, which goes into why I'm the killer pitch master and the pitch queen. So I hope that you've enjoyed this particular session on Red Hot and Tempting, 3 ways to get them to buy right now. So incorporate those 3 one at a time, all 3, and watch your sales soar. Watch your referrals go up. Watch VIPs come to see you. What you're learning to do today is to bait, attract, and close with ease. So incorporating these into what it is you're going to do, you are going to become red and hot and tempting to your target market, and they're going to what? Buy right now. Again, my name is Precious Williams. I am so proud to be a part of getWise, and keep coming back. The experts here are amazing. You're going to learn something, and you want to give us a call because we can help you take your business into the stratosphere. Thank you so very much.